All right, time now for all things Gators, all things orange and blue. Dan Hicken and Frangie. What's up, Hick?
Doing great, Frank. It's great to be you. Brought to you by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists, se-ortho.com for all your orthopedic needs in the area. Always good to beat the semis, and I enjoyed it a great deal on Saturday night. Two big numbers, 9 and 8, 9 sacks, 8 fumbles. Spelled the
I
difference.
it was a and I didn't think Florida played very well.
They
That's the
did. Yeah, they
you
did.
win a game without playing very well. I thought Florida kind of probably played a little bit down to the competition, but they're so much more physical than FSU. Boy, FSU's not very good. To see them up close,
No.
wow, they're not very good. But I thought Florida played physical, found a way to win. And I got to, hey, I'll take 31-11 in Tallahassee the next 20 times they go. All right.
Yep.
It was a
And
fantastic.
and and I was going to say, DJ Lagway makes such a difference. I mean, the game would have been closer if it wasn't DJ Lagway. Maybe that's why he's, 5-0 in all the games that he's played and finished 5-1 as a starter this year for Florida. You think about that one play and where he was sacked, and nobody else gets out of that, right? Nobody else gets away from a 300-pound defensive tackle except a 240-pound kid who's really strong and then makes a wonderful throw. And that was a drive that I believe led to a touchdown. Game's a lot closer if it isn't DJ Lagway. So maybe that's part of the aura about him as we now await, dare I say, a bowl game. What bowl will the Gators go to after they dispose of FSU and win their third in a row?
Yeah, no question. You're right about Lagway. Here's the thing, Dan. What happens when he learns how to play? When
Yeah.
the one thing he doesn't right now he's got 11 touchdowns and 7 picks.
Hmm.
Hasn't learned yet is, and part of it's the development. All freshmen are like this. They make the splash plays. What happens when he becomes a guy that can go 21 of 28 for 312 and 4 touchdowns? That
Yeah.
day, right now, he's got to throws a beautiful deep ball. He's physical with the splash plays. He doesn't get rattled. He's got the great poise. That's already there. But what happens when he learns to go play in and play out like these NFL quarterbacks do? It's kind of funny. That's what Mertz was already good at. Mertz was already good at the play and play out, but Mertz didn't go down the field, and Mertz couldn't make the athletic plays. Imagine when Lagway's both of that.
And
When he's
clearly he's not close to 100%. I mean, he can't plant and throw even. I mean, he's just flicking the ball down the field. So, yeah, I look forward to that, man. I hope he gets healthy for the bowl game. I hope they can I mean, we're biased here, but I'd love to see him in Jacksonville. I think it'd be a sellout. It'd be great. You get a team from the ACC, a Syracuse or a Georgia Tech, have a really good bowl game, man. A real good opportunity. It's just great for Florida to be back. Look, I'll say it. We're excited. I mean, expectations got lowered the last few years. We're excited to be 7-5 and going bowling, man. Yeah, you bet I am.
I'll tell you what, and I joke about the recruiting stuff, but you certainly follow it closer than I do.
Uh-huh.
The turnaround from the beginning of that LSU game to now on the field in the fan base, and I'm going to talk about that in a minute, where I think it's going, and all these flips in recruiting that's what everyone's talking about right now. Dan, it's one of the most amazing turnarounds, not just for the Gators that I've ever seen. This guy went from dead in the water. Everybody wanted him fired. Boosters were apparently raising a bunch of money to buy him out and to go
Yeah.
buy Kiffin. And then you blink in a month, everybody loves where they are. And there's still some concerns. But the truth is they're winning their games. They're the hottest team in America. They beat two ranked teams. They disposed of their rival by 20 points when they weren't even playing very well. And there's been 11 flips as of this recording. 11 flips since before that LSU game. You tell me, are they going to finish in the top 10 in all the recruiting services now? It looks that way.
Yeah, I think they are. They were 51st a couple months ago. And now I see them as high as 10, 9 in some services. It's an unbelievable turnaround. And I assume it's, you know, I have a theory about recruiting, and I'll be curious. We're doing this on Tuesday. Signing day is on Wednesday, so we'll see if they continue to improve. There's a lot of rumors that Florida's going to get a few more guys to come, and I just think that the electricity of the swamp over the last month, it's always been there, but to win and to have that electricity, and DJ Lagway and DJ and for kids who ultimately, I want to go I want to go to Texas or I want to go to, a place farther away. And the reality is, and in this day and age, I think there's ways that the families get paid for to go to the games and such, but it's a pain in the butt. And if you give me the same kind of environment, same situation with a winning program that's right down the street, why not go there? You
Well,
know?
I think that's a very big part of it. I think you're dead on. Let me tell you two other things that have happened,
Hmm.
and what I'm being told by people that I trust that I think would know. There was truth to the fact that a handful of these really rich boosters raised a bunch of money
Right.
that would pay out, that would buy out Billy Napier, go pay Lane Kiffin or whoever, and really wanted to move on that. When Scott Strickland and Billy stood their ground and went to the board of trustees and said, no, I think we have to give this guy a chance. He's going to continue on. Once that happened, A, the football team was galvanized. That was A. It was clear they played better since then. That was A. B, I think the powers that be went back to these boosters who are good people, by the way. These rich guys are good. All they care about is the same thing we all care about, winning games,
Hmm.
and convince them, listen, if you've raised all this money, we're
Hmm.
not getting rid of the coach, but you have the money. Let's put that money to our NIL. Give us a chance. This is the last year of NIL the way we know it, by the way. They're going to go to that revenue sharing model next year where everybody's capped at $20.5 million.
Hmm.
Right now, it's still unlimited. So it's the last year of this. Let's take all this money in and let's use it on getting players, keeping players. Well, the rich booster guys who are good people that care about the Gators said, okay. So now, not only do you have momentum because the players that are there are happy with the coach, the recruits are now starting to hear, A, there's positive energy. I get to play with DJ Lagway. And oh, by the way, in this last year of NIL as we know it, all of a sudden there's all this money available. Don't think for a minute, Dan, that all these flips aren't connected to the dollars.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
So it's been the perfect storm of boosters who raised a bunch of money because they wanted Billy out, have now been willing to put that money to the NIL, and that's why you're seeing flip after flip after flip. Look, it's the perfect good storm, man. And I think you're going to see it in the portal too, Dan. I think you're going to see a number of guys come in the portal. We'll talk about that in a minute. But it's a great time to be a Gator after it hasn't been for a while. That much is true.
Yeah, certainly Florida fans are happy and enjoying the ride right now, and you're right. I think the portal's critical, and I would shoot big. I would shoot big, and I will tamper. I would call Columbus. I'd call that number 4, that wide receiver who's from the state of Florida, and I'd ask him if he wants to come back home and play with a guy as talented as DJ Lagway, and we're going to throw the ball around and we're going to win. I love what Lagway said after the Florida State game about how his job is to keep guys to come. Now, we've heard a couple guys going into the portal, and that's going to happen in any program. I heard Andy Jean may go, Justice Boone. Those guys weren't playing much at all, if at all. So I understand that, and the guys want to play and they want to get deals, and that's fine. We're going to reap more than coming up here in the next month. So and it's an exciting time, but they got to hit. They got to go for. They got to go for broke, man. Go for broke on this one and see what happens.
I hope Andy Jean's going to be a good player. There wasn't a place for him here.
Yeah,
Boone, there's 6 edges ahead of him that are
yeah,
good. So Justice Boone made it. What I hope you don't lose a good player. Everyone's keeping an eye on Trey Wilson. I think it's safe to say that early in the season, people believed Trey was going to play 4 games, keep his eligibility, and go somewhere else.
hmm,
Now, maybe, hopefully not. I know GJ Lagway is going to try and keep him. But I do think if you look at positions in the portal, receivers high on the list.
yes,
We've learned a couple things. Number one, Florida's best receivers have been these older transfer guys.
hmm,
Badger and DK this year, as Pearsall before that. Secondly, if you look around, Dan, other than the guys like Ryan Williams at Alabama, who were the megastars early, a lot of the best receivers are transfer guys. I mean, FSU had their big year because they had Johnny Wilson and Keon Coleman and Jaheim Bell in the same class,
yeah,
transfer portal guys. So I think veteran receivers who know how to run routes, who know how to get off jams, who have learned it, who are a little veteran, more older guys or veteran guys. I think you need a few of those. So I think receiver in the portal for sure. There's no doubt about that. And you can't get enough good big linemen because 23-year-old
right,
linemen are more mature than 17 and 18-year-old linemen.
no
So
question.
I would say for me, the two things that jump off the page in the portal, I want your thoughts on this. Receiver one and a few linemen on both sides of the ball. Is that where you kind of are too in the portal?
100%. I mean, I love. Listen, Frank. There was a point in time. I mean, I go to my son who follows it more than I do, and I'm watching the game Saturday. I go, Brooksy, who is number 30? He goes, oh, that's George Smith. He's a true freshman from Lake Sumter. Who's that? He's backing up Castell. Castell must be hurt. I mean, we had guys out there. RJ Moten was getting snaps. I mean, you can go down the Grimsley had to play, and these guys did fine. I mean, they battled. These are fourth and fifth string dudes who are out there playing football for Florida. There is a lot of young talent. There is something to get really excited about. The way that the Sap kid has developed has been terrific to watch. Jack Pyburn is not just a motor guy. He's a hell of a football player, man. I mean, so Napier has done a great job at developing now. These guys are all getting better. These young guys are all playing. They should be loaded on defense next year. So yes, I would go big on receiver. I wouldn't mind a tight end if we could find one. I don't know what young ones we have there already. So there's opportunity for some. I love the running backs room, and I love the kids that we got coming in. So we'll see how that goes. I told you last week I wouldn't go to sleep on Trey Webb. I hope he stays as well, and I know he loves being a Gator. So we'll see. But yeah, man, great time, and this is going to be an off season of excitement and real hope. Real hope, not just fake. I had fake hope last year. I had to because there's such negativity. I got real hope now. There's no reason why Florida shouldn't be a top 12 team next year. There really isn't.
I think they get even better on defense. Number one, all those guys get better. Those six edge guys,
Yeah.
Vernon, Sapp, and Cameron James.
Third in the conference in sacks by the end, Frank.
Correct. And
Yeah.
so those edge guys, here's the other thing. You mentioned RJ Moten, okay? RJ Moten and Derek Wingo are good program guys that have earned a chance to play a little bit. But the bottom line is they're seniors who aren't as good as Aaron Childs and
Right.
So by next year, the guys playing will all be the guys that were the 4 stars.
100%.
So they get even better there. I do worry about the fact that Cam Jackson, who's played great down the stretch, and I didn't think he was as good as he turned out to be, and Caleb Banks, who's as good as any tackle playing right now. Caleb's got to come out early, I would think. Cam Jackson's a senior, so you got to figure that spot out. Michael Borrow comes back; he's a big physical guy. You get the one guy, Jabari. I'm drawing a blank on his last name.
Lions.
Right, but so you're gonna have some guys in the interior. I wouldn't mind a guy there. Let me ask you this:
Yeah.
you think you go find and I've said this all along, a veteran fourth or fifth year quarterback who knows he's not going to be the starter, but wants to coach one day? I wouldn't mind one more guy in the quarterback room. Right now, as it stands, DJ Lagway is going to be one of the better starters in the country. His backup, I guess, will be Tramel Jones, the true freshman out of Mandarin High School that's coming.
Right.
But I wouldn't mind one more veteran guy. I know Aiden Warner and Clay Millen are there, but I wouldn't mind one more. If a guy,
I'm good with that.
Lagway a couple games.
Yeah.
It's played the guy that started 28 games in the MAC. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
One guy like that to kind of keep the train moving until Lagway comes back. That worries me a little bit.
That's fair. I like that. I like that thought as well. All right, let's real quick shift our attention to your hoops team. Boy, I got a good dose of them over Thanksgiving. Nice couple of W's there, and I think they have Virginia coming up now. They got some good games coming up now. Get a little real good. North Carolina's on the schedule. I know that. So undefeated, 8-0, terrific job. All's quiet on the Golden investigation front. I'm assuming at some point we'll hear something on that. Have you heard anything at all on that? But the team itself is playing good basketball.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything on Golden. I think that's going to play out the way it plays out. So we'll see. To the team itself, I'll tell you what he did. So last year they had a good team. They're good offensively, they weren't very good defensively, but they weren't physical last year. They lose Hanlogton at the end of the year when they might have won the SEC tournament. They lose them in that championship game and they don't have in the NCAA tournament. And Colorado pushed them around. Yeah. Colorado was more physical at every spot, and that's how they went one and done in the tournament. I'll give him credit. He went and made his team physical. He got Chinyelu, that's how they pronounce it now, it looks like Patrick Young, big physical guy. He went out and got, Elijah Martin looks like a football player.
Yeah.
Alexis is a big, thick, physical guy. Even the guys you had there, Richard and Clayton, they've been time in the weight room. So what he's done is he's made it a physical team, a big physical team. So they're not going to get pushed around. They're athletic. Dan, if they can shoot, and I still have questions about will they make shots? When they can shoot, they could win the national championship. So they play in this tournament. They beat Wake Forest. They beat them by a little bit. Okay. So then they have the championship game against Wichita State, who was 6-0, right? Well, they made shots. You realize they were up 70 to 29, 70 to
Yeah.
29, no, 70 to 29,
Yeah. Yeah.
70 to 20, Dan, 70 to 29 when he emptied the bench. Who's ever up 70 to 29 in a
Well,
college against
uh,
an undefeated team?
a 27 to nothing run will do that for you. And that's what Florida went on. And it was such a long run. I think it ended the first half and continued on in the second half. And that was all she wrote. Yeah, that was impressive. And it's, listen, again, I like it. It's a veteran team. Now, I'll tell you this. I've watched a little SEC basketball over the holiday. Man, I mean, Auburn has played everybody and beaten everybody. Alabama, I watched the end of their game with Oregon. It was a great game. Oregon won the game, but Alabama came back in it. I mean, Kentucky looks like they're going to go a different route now with Pope and be pretty good. Tennessee, I mean, there are some really good teams in the Southeastern Conference. It's going to be a fun year.
Yeah, and they're loaded. You didn't even get to Arkansas and some of the others. I
Yeah.
agree. Here's the thing. I think Florida will go into the season 11-1. I don't
Okay.
think I don't know if they're going to beat North Carolina, but I think they'll win the other ones. They play Virginia. We're recording this on Tuesday. They play Virginia Wednesday night. They play North Carolina in Charlotte. That's a tough one. But let's say they're 10-1, 11-1, whatever it is. If you can get to 10 wins in a brutal league and you're 21 or 22, so then all of a sudden you look and you're 22-8 or
Yeah.
whatever that gets you a 4 or 5 seed. Boy, these Gators could get deep, Dan.
Hmm.
These you get to those 10 or 11 wins in the league, which they've been doing without a team that's this good,
Hmm.
very deep. So finally, as we wrap this thing,
Hmm.
think about this for a second. Everybody was down on Scott Strickland. Everybody was down on the program. The soccer coach and the women's basketball coach were abusive, had to go, and now Golden's in this mess, and football's losing record. We had such despair, right, Dan? It was despair.
Oh,
Now,
man.
all of a sudden, football's got as much momentum as any program in the country. They
Yep.
could set off for the signing day on Wednesday. Real momentum. And I hope they come here to Jacksonville too in the bowl. They're going to go either here, Tampa, or Nashville, would be my guess. The basketball team looks like they could be a Sweet 16 team at worst.
Hmm.
All of a sudden, an NIL is well built. Isn't it amazing how the whole program went from despair to we can't wait for the next day? Isn't it? I'm
Yeah.
serious about that. The way the whole Florida athletic program, baseball's going to be great again.
Right.
Softball's going to be great again. I mean, track's going to be great again. Isn't it amazing how all of a sudden, how excited all of us are as Gator fans on all these sports?
It's great to be you. Like I said, it's great to be you. So yeah, the Napier turnaround is that's a 30 for 30 in the making somewhere. I'd love to do that and find out what really happened. Something you can talk about bye week and adjustment on defense all you want. I don't know what the hell happened. Say he talks about the Tennessee game and like the first half of the Tennessee game where they actually played with this really good team on the road and maybe that was part of it. I would love to know the inside story because he was dead and buried, man. And it's a amazing comeback. Amazing
So,
comeback. So
good time for the Gators.
yeah.
Gators. I'm Frank Frangie. He's Dan Hicken.
And thank you, Southeast Orthopedic Specialist, se-ortho.com for all your orthopedic needs in Jacksonville. Frank, you have yourself a great week.
You too, Hick. See ya.
All right.